There are many reasons to invest in Germany, all of them smart. World-beating infrastructure, Europe's most dynamic economy, Europe's #1 R&D nation. Germany, smart solutions, smarter business.
Like many farms across Europe, Boycott Farm here in Buckinghamshire has had to look beyond traditional crops and animals to boost their income. Alongside a beef herd, pigs and 6,000 chickens, this 17th century barn is now home to a tea room, restaurant and a thriving farm shop. Whatever marketplace you shop in, the chances are there's a Unilever product in your basket. With over 400 brands, they sell more packet tea and make more ice cream than anyone else in the world. In this week's FaceTime, I caught up with a man at the helm of the business in Europe. You're looking to double your growth with an environmental edge. How can you be sure that that's what investors want?
No, that's what consumers want. In the end, we're a consumer company. The #1 people we think about is the people of the world, the people that use our products. And what they want is products from companies they know that they make these products responsibly. So when they buy PG tips, they know that the tea is grown from sustainable plantations.
It's a huge investment though, bringing out all these product lines. You've also got pressures with commodity prices. How do you maintain that balance without putting it all on the consumer to get you back to growth?
No, in the end it's business as usual. So commodity prices have gone up. So the first place is to look at your own cost structures to see what costs you can take out of the business and where you can be more efficient and what you can do better. But in the end, it's really going back to the consumer and thinking what sort of things can we do to help it. Because the funny thing is for the consumer, good value, or it doesn't necessarily mean cheap.
In Europe, you're saying the focus is on the consumer, getting it right for them. You're also in emerging markets though, and Russia seems to be a growing market. Why is Russia such a hot ticket, or are you just going there because Nestle and L'Oreal are already there?
If you look at where the opportunities are for the future, it's obviously the BRIC countries, but it's much more than that. So it's Russia, but it's also China, but it's also Vietnams of this world. It's the Pakistans and Bangladeshis of this world. It's Africa, the growth in Africa. So as a global enterprise, we really have to look at where the opportunities are, and that's where the people are, the population growth is, where the economies are growing, and the consumption is still low.
You're very positive, you're full of energy, and I imagine that's quite infectious for the people who work for you. But it hasn't been plain sailing. There have had to be cost cutting and major changes within the company structure itself, haven't there?
Absolutely. Business is a tough place. In the end, we have to do what is needed to succeed. And Europe is a tough environment. So when markets are not growing, and actually the cost to compete is going up because the consumer demands great products, demands it at a good price, demands innovation. You really got to turn every euro in every part of the business to be able to actually reinvest that into the marketplace.
What are the main obstacles or barriers to doing business in Europe? Would you like to see some tweaks to certain EU regulations, for example?
Well, it's absolutely clear that having now spent 8 years outside Europe, that doing business in the emerging world is a lot easier. Why? The environment is easier. It's much more pro-business. People welcome business. And I think in Europe, having now been back for a year, there is too much negativism. People don't understand that business, and 99% of business, is a force for good.
If you could bend the ears of all the European commissioners in Brussels, would you like to run Europe the Unilever way?
Well, well, we're not so arrogant to think that we can run Europe. It's difficult enough to sell soap and tea and a bit of ice cream. So let's just try and do that well first and foremost before we start running Europe. But what would I like Europe to do is become a little bit more pro-business, to make the environment a little bit easier for us to operate. And we can learn a lot from the emerging world. It is a lot easier to do business in the emerging world. It's a lot more proactive. It's less bureaucratic. The EU has said they would cut 25% of all regulations, I think by 2015. They're not on the way of doing that. To get an innovation through takes too long. To get approvals through takes too long. So things are just too slow and too bureaucratic. And if we want to reinvent this continent and make it innovative, growing, dynamic, you need to be able to loosen it up a bit. Let some fresh air. It's almost like a spring clean. Europe needs a little bit of a spring clean to be able to innovate again and grow again.